This video is for those who have been going through incredible change and transformation over the last while. And especially if you have experienced moments of doubt and frustration with your past and with life and the process, because it can feel very overwhelming. It can feel very uncertain. It can feel very dark. It can feel very turbulent. And there have been times where I've questioned this path, almost wanting to go back into the way I was because it wasn't so sensitive. It wasn't so tumultuous, even though it definitely wasn't healthy. And I definitely was not as aware or as conscious as I am today. And I feel that when we go through these moments of uncertainty and change, it can be extremely uncomfortable. But imagine if you didn't get to experience this. Imagine if you didn't get to change. Imagine all the people in the world who aren't changing and who aren't exploring the depths within themselves and who aren't taking the time to understand their unconscious or their shadow self, or to even change their lives or look at life through a new perspective. When we go through the change, when we start to open up to understand ourselves deeper and to explore within our depths, we will naturally unlock some of those emotions, those repressed, suppressed emotions and beliefs that we have within our unconscious self. But as soon as we illuminate them, we release them. We remove ourselves from the grips of our fears and our limitations and our perceptions where we hadn't been able to see fully before. And so this work is difficult, but it is extremely transformative and it sets you free, right? And I was thinking back to what I was like before doing this work. And yes, I didn't feel as much, maybe because my feelings were suppressed, my emotions were suppressed. I was holding on for dear life and shoving everything down without even really realizing how much I was suppressing within myself. And it was affecting my body. It was affecting my actions, my behaviors, everything in between, my relationships. And now moving into this new way of being is so much richer, but there are dark times. There are extremely difficult times. And sometimes when those dark moments come up, it almost sends me back wishing that I hadn't been doing this work in a way. So I completely understand how hard this path can be, but just imagine how richer your life is becoming. And I'm sure you've experienced these moments as well of greater consciousness and greater shifts and greater confidence with who you are, perhaps, if this is what you are experiencing. But I truly feel this is the opportunity that we can step into, is greater confidence and greater alignment with who we truly are. Removing ourselves from our fears and removing ourselves from the limitations of historical impositions on ourselves, on humanity, on society, so that we can maybe even be at the forefront of change. I'm sure if you are experiencing it, maybe you in some way are going to help others. Maybe just by being in your authenticity, you can inspire others indirectly or directly. It is that ripple effect that is going to help change the world. But it most importantly is going to heal yourself incredibly. When we look at our mind, our emotions, our body, our soul, how it is all connected. And when we start looking into our unconscious, when we start to face our fears, when we start to understand our depths and look into the shadow and all those shadowy aspects in between, we set ourselves free. We get to realize a new aspect of ourselves that we hadn't seen before. And once we see it, once we illuminate it, once we make sense of it, we get that click, that aha moment. We set ourselves free. We move on. And yes, we may go down into another dip, and that sometimes for some of us is going to be the normal pattern. I know for myself it certainly is. So I completely understand it if you experience that. We all are going to have different experiences through this journey. But just imagine if you didn't have the ability to do this work. And imagine all the people in the world who aren't doing this work, who aren't even daring and brave enough to look within, or even have access to the option or opportunity of doing it. So you probably are at the forefront of this big change that we are experiencing in this world. You, in some way, are probably going to help others directly or indirectly. You, in some way, are going to heal generations of trauma. You in some way, of course, are going to heal yourself and heal your body and look at life through a new lens because of the work that you are doing. So never discount the work that you are doing, no matter how hard it is and no matter how confusing and difficult it can be, because I get it. I know exactly how hard it can be sometimes. But by giving yourself the focus and the kindness and the curiosity, you are already leaps and bounds ahead from where you were in the past. I was reflecting on the hardship that I had gone through over many years of my life. And there's still a part of me that is afraid of the future in my unconscious self, or afraid of worst case scenario, or afraid of repeating some of the situations that I had experienced in the past, or afraid of even just remaining here and staying in this, what feels like a loop sometimes. And there's this deep fear that I feel can hold me back in many ways, or can restrict me in many ways that I'm very aware of, that I am working on. But when I really go deep into it and ask myself, what am I truly afraid of? What am I afraid of? I have gone through loss. I have gone through the hits in life. I am here. I have recovered. I am doing just fine. And I'm growing because of it. And I'm stepping out of my comfort zone even more and more every day. So what am I afraid of? And maybe it's something to ask yourself if you are feeling this and if it's resonating with you. What are you afraid of? What are you afraid of? We are eternal, limitless beings. What are we afraid of? Maybe afraid of experiencing pain again or experiencing loss. But if we've gone through it and we've strengthened ourselves from it and we've survived from it, can't we do that again? And can't we also work on ourselves in a way so that we don't experience it the same way? Because that also is very possible, and I know it is. So what are we afraid of? When we go through this incredible transformation, you can think of it almost from this side moving to this side. And we're moving from our old self into a new self. And right in the middle is this very confusing, very tumultuous emotional time where we're shifting, we're purging, we're changing, we're morphing, we're adjusting, we're releasing, we're integrating. And it is a very uncomfortable place to be because it's new for us. And we have to start integrating and aligning with our new self and a new way of being altogether. And so it is a step-by-step process, and we haven't been here before. So we're relearning. We're learning how to walk when we've been crawling over here our whole life. So it takes time. So make sure to be gentle with yourself through this process, especially because you are learning not only how to walk, but to fly, to soar. How do we fly when we've been crawling for so many years? It takes time. It does take time and nurturing the process. And of course, looking back, even though, yes, this time can be difficult and ugly and uncomfortable, it's because we're relearning, we're learning, and we're removing ourselves from the past. We're changing our old ways. We're reprogramming ourselves. We're shifting. We're understanding our shadow, our unconscious. And we are rewiring ourselves completely into a new way of being that's in alignment with who we truly are, void of the fears and the shame and the anger and the resentment of the masks that we have created just to survive or just to get by or to please others or to appear in a certain way. It's all coming down. And so this is now a rebuilding in our true light without the masks, fully in our full potential, in our authentic self, in our true self, without the fear, because we have nothing to lose. We have nothing to lose, and we have so much to experience by that and so much to create when we are free and liberated from the fears of the loss or the what if something is going to happen or afraid of the future. We step into a whole new way of being, very empowered place to be when we have really nothing to lose because we can recover, because we can rebuild, we can strengthen, we can heal, and we become stronger and stronger in that knowing as well. And so we are in that transitionary part where we're coming from here where we were, which was down there, and we're moving to there. We're moving to a whole new way of being. So we're probably right in the dip, right in that transitionary period where we're coming out of or in, or maybe some of you are just starting to go into it, and it's all good. It's all fine because we have to go through this phase in order to fly, in order to walk, in order to run, in order to soar. We have to go through this phase, and it feels like a death. It feels like a death and rebirth. It is a purge. It is a release. It is confronting our shadows. It's confronting our pain. It's confronting our limitations, our fears, our personas that we've built, and learning to let it go and find peace and remain in the present moment to realign with all we can be, with who we truly are. If this video is resonating with you and it is speaking to where you are, allow yourself grace through this period. Give yourself time to adjust and to integrate. Find pleasure in the smallest things, in the subtleties in life, what can bring you joy and happiness and ease. And trust, most importantly. Trust the process and trust that you are on the right path. Listen to your intuition, listen to your heart, pay attention to the shadow, pay attention to the fears, and know that you are in a process of realigning, of aligning with who you truly are, of stepping into your greatness and all that you can be. And it is truly an exciting place to be. But as I mentioned, it can also bring up a lot of uncertainty and a lot of emotions, but do not give up on your path forward. And of course, there is the Shadow Project that will help you on your way through a self-guided module-based program. I also have some more goodies that I've been working on as well, as I've been learning so much through this process, dissecting it, integrating it, understanding it, feeling it, sitting with it, and becoming very close with this process. I know we can all get through this. There's something so amazing waiting for us on the other side that we are slowly starting to experience. So I hope this video found you when you need it the most. Know that you are on a very special path right now, and you are in the midst of incredible, powerful change that is probably going to help shift the consciousness of the world in some kind of way moving forward. This is the path that our collective in some way, shape, or form is on. This is the trajectory of shaking away from the old and strengthening our true potential and greater levels of consciousness.